What if I told you that one airline saved $40,000 by removing an olive? You probably would think that I'm joking and click away. But this is what a company by the name of American Airlines did. American Airlines, the same airline that once offered unlimited lifetime tickets, actually came up with a smart business strategy, which was to remove a single olive from every first-class meal. It was the 1980s, and a guy named Bob Crandall is the CEO of American Airlines, or more like ex-CEO. He was known for being really effective at his job and a bit rowdy sometimes. Bob was the type of guy who would question why humans exist and other existential life problems. He was like, "Oh my gosh, we are having quite a financial problem right now. I don't know what to do." The truth was, American Airlines had been looking for ways to save costs as there began to be more competitors and thinner profit margins, as this was a time where people no longer had to sell their house just to catch a flight. A decade before the infamous olive story, there was an oil crisis, leading to recessions, which probably further driven their company to save as much money as they could. Airlines had to get creative to survive. Cost-cutting was the name of the game. One day, Crandall spotted a report detailing the analytics of the meals they served. He was known for trying to squeeze as much pennies as he could from his consumers. He once said, "If the customer can squeeze us, we should be allowed to squeeze them back." So, when the paper showed that a lot of the first-class customers, as much as 3/4 of them, never even bothered to eat them, which is relatable, as I would also be in the 3/4 of people, this guy activated his big brain. So, he had an idea. No, not a full menu redesign. He had the idea of removing just a single olive from every salad for each meal during each flight. At the time, a single piece of olive cost approximately 1.3 cents. Multiply that by every first-class meal flown each year, and suddenly, it can save a lot of money, which I'm not going to do the math on. Okay, I guess he saved $40,000, which is over $115,000 in today's money. That's enough to buy a small house, 3 brand new cars, or a private island in the Caribbean back then. But have you seen inflation? That's it. Crandall told his team to stop putting as many olives in, as he hated the idea of letting so many olives fly first class for free. At the time, they believed that nobody would care about a single piece of olive missing, and they were right. American has stated that they didn't lose a single customer because of the tiny removal, except for the Karen down the street, which was great for them. They got to save some money, and the customer probably didn't notice a thing. These changes can add up to a lot of money over time. American Airlines have about 3,300 flights a day. In a year, that's over 100,000 flights. To put it like this, imagine multiplying the weight of an olive by 100,000. Every ounce counts. So, any small changes add up to a lot over time. Even a single olive. Mindblip managed to track down one of the olives that was laid up in the 1980s. Here's what it had to say. "Yeah, I remember the day so vividly like it was yesterday. One minute I'm chilling next to the tomato wedges in first class, and next I'm tossed down like it never mattered. Crandall said I was an extra. An extra? I made the salad. I was the entire thing." Ever since, the salad was never the same. Why was this such a big deal? Well, airlines have notoriously one of the slimmest profit margins in the industry. They typically profit around $6 to $8 per passenger. It takes a lot of behind-the-scenes factors to lift an aircraft off its feet. They need to factor in the cost of labor, investments like the plane itself, which ranges in the hundreds of millions of dollars. The olive story is one of the ridiculous examples of airlines squeezing costs in creative and sometimes ridiculous ways. Take Ryanair, known for being the European buddy's spirit, enforced a weight limit on their flight attendants, and removed an entire toilet in order to save fuel. This is the same airline that once considered charging their passengers, or more like victims, to use the bathroom. That's right, they genuinely considered making somebody pay in order to perform such a human necessity. What did they think their passengers were doing in there? Or take Jazz, which is the regional counterpart to Air Canada, who once thought the life jackets were too heavy and decided to remove them on their plane, and exchange them with personal flotation devices. Personal flotation devices are functional and can keep someone afloat, but life jackets are designed to keep an unconscious person afloat. Chefs cared more about their money rather than their passenger safety, who trusted their lives with the airline by flying with them. The worst part? The Canadian government approved this new change as long as they stayed within 50 nautical miles of shore. Of course, airlines don't want you to notice the changes that they are quietly making behind the curtains. Airlines pretend to appear generous, but as with most businesses, they are quietly optimizing behind the scenes. Napkins, blankets, and even paint are some of the changes that are happening. This is why consumers have to stick through the thin sheets that are supposedly called blankets. Remember the time when in flight meals used to include things like lobsters and duck? Well, I guess you don't, since most of you probably weren't born during that time. But now, you're lucky to get a couple of peanuts and a smile from the flight attendant. Who would have thought that one tiny olive could kick off a chain reaction from the cost cutting greed of companies? That 13 cents of toppings wasn't just about saving money. It began a series of dominoes where companies obsessively trim every little thing, squeezing every last cent from you. So, next time you're stuck in a seat smaller than a sardine can and wondering where your snack went, blame the olives. If you enjoyed this video, maybe you like this one as well.